Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 7. Our topic for Advanced Linguistics today is about syntactic structure process. There are three presenters. The first one is me, Viar, and then the second is Meilan, and the last is Dian. The points to describe are: first, what is syntax? Why do we need to study syntax? Syntactic structure, words, phrase, clause, sentence, and the last is grammatical rules. Alright, let's get started. So, what is syntax? Syntax is the part of linguistics that studies the structure and formations of sentences. Talman defines that syntax as the sentence construction, how words group together to make phrase and sentence. Miller explained that syntax has to do with how words are put together to build phrases, with how phrases are put together to build clauses or bigger phrases, and with how clauses are put together to build sentences. We can conclude that syntax is the study of constructing sentence and understand its part. In syntax, we should also consider the rules how the sentences are constructed. A sentence could make no sense and still be correct from the point syntax of view as long as the word in their appropriate spot and agree with each other. And here is the classic example by Noam Chomsky. He illustrates a case in which a sentence is correct but doesn't make sense. Colorless green ideas sleep firstly. Actually, to create grammatically correct and acceptable English sentences, we have to follow English rules for syntax. And for the next is, why do we need to study syntax? According to Miller, studying syntax enables human beings to compose complex messages. And according to Kim and Sells, state that learning syntax is helping the student enhance their understanding of the structure of English in a systematic and scientific way. More specifically, they claim that studying syntax can, first, help us to illustrate the pattern of English more effectively and clearly. Number two, enable us to analyze the structure of English sentence in a systematic and explicit way. That's for me, and we'll continue by Meilan. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am, and all my friends. Thanks, Miss Viar. You explained about syntax. My name is Meilan Priskawati Sihombing. Now, I will explain about syntactic structure. Syntactic structure is built by two basic operations. A merge operation combines words to create larger phrases and sentences. A merge operation combines words in accordance with their syntactic category and their subcategorizing properties, creating a representation called deep structure or D-structure. This structure must complete with the X schema, which stipulates the place of heads, specifiers, and complements in phrase structure. Move operation can modify this structure by moving words and phrase in particular ways to produce a surface structure or as structure. Next, I will explain about words. The basic unit of syntax are words. Words can be classified into different lexical categories according to three criteria: meaning, morphological form, and the syntactic function. Based on the meaning, words are classified into A. About noun. Noun referring to an individual or entity. Noun can be singular and plural, countable or uncountable, or common or proper. B. Verb. Verb referring to an action. Verbs cannot have plural marking. C. Adjective. Adjective referring to property. Adjective cannot have tenses marking. However, it can take comparative and superlative. And last, adverb. Adverb referring to manner, location, time, or frequency of an action. Next, I will explain about noun phrase. Noun phrase is a group of two or more words that is headed by a noun is persons, place, or a thing. That includes modifier the, of the, with her. A noun phrase plays the role of a noun. In a noun phrase, the modifier can come before or after the noun and also be headed by a pronoun, like any noun. A noun phrase can function as a subject and an object or a complement within a sentence. For example, noun about people. Noun phrase, the soldier, my cousin. Next, about animals, one rat, funny Mickey. Next, about place, the house in the corner, dirty factory. About things, this table, her cooking. And about ideas, some kidneys, your faith, etc. That's about noun phrase. Next, about verb phrase. A verb phrase is a syntactic unit consisting of an auxiliary verb preceding the main verb. It often contains a head verb, complement, object, and modifier as it depends. Helping verbs may appear as is, are, be, such as was, were, been, being, have, had, has, do, did, does, can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, must, might, etc. In generative grammar, a verb phrase may consider of just a single verb. However, typically it contains a main verb and auxiliary verb, optional specifier, complement, and adjuncts. For instance, tomorrow is going to be a good day with this current. Here is an auxiliary, while going is the main verb. Just as noun project, noun phrase, verb project. The rules to construct verb phrase are an obligatory verb followed by an optional noun phrase and then any number of preposition phrase. For example, Matt, his student in the class. Matt about verb, the student about noun phrase, and in this class about preposition phrase. Next, about adjective phrase. An adjective phrase is a group of words that describe a noun or pronoun in a sentence. The adjective in an adjective phrase can appear at the start and or in the middle of the phrase. The adjective phrase can be placed before or after the noun or pronoun in the sentence. Adjective is always formed adverb phrase. For example, John feels happy. John's noun feels verb and happy about adjective. I will explain about adverb phrase. An adverb phrase consists of one or more words. The adverbs is the head of the phrase and can appear alone or it can be modified by other words. Adverbs are one of the four major classes along with nouns, verbs, and adjectives. These phrases are often used to modify verbs, adjectives, and adverbs themselves, and they can occur in this environment. For example, he drives carefully. He, noun, drives, verb, and carefully, adverb. That's about adverb phrase. And last, I will explain about preposition phrase. A preposition phrase is a group of words that lacks either a verb or a subject, and that function as an unified part of speech. It normally consists of a preposition and a noun, or a preposition and a pronoun. Remember the following rules for preposition phrase, and you will find that using them become much easier. First, preposition phrase always consists of two basic parts at minimum: the object and the preposition. Second, in formal English, prepositions are almost always followed by object. Third, adjective can be placed between the preposition and object in preposition phrase. And last, preposition phrase can act as adverb or adjective. When they are used as adjective, they modify nouns and pronouns in the same way single word adjective do. When preposition phrases are used as adverb, they act the same way single word adverb and adverb clauses do, modifying adjective, verb, and other adverbs. For example, in the box, in preposition, the determine, box, noun. That's about preposition. Okay, that's all about syntactic structure, word, and phrase. Now, the next presenter will be explain about clause, sentence, and grammatical rules.
Thank you, Meilan. Good evening, all. I am Dian, and today I will explain about clause, sentence, and grammatical rules. Clause can be divided into two: independent clause and dependent clause. Independent clause, or we can say sentence, it is a clause that can stand alone. It has subject and verb, and it conveys a message. For example, we are shopping. Dependent clause, in other hand, is a clause that cannot stand alone. It usually starts with the conjunction. For example, because I need the sweater. Because I need the sweater doesn't convey a full meaning. That's why we need the help from a sentence to complete the dependent clause to form a meaning. Sentence. There is a rule that English sentences are composed of noun phrase and verb phrase. Sentence can be classified into two, based on its function and based on its structure. Based on its function, sentence can be divided into four: declarative sentence, question, imperative sentence, and exclamation. Declarative sentences are simply statements that relay message or information. They are the most common type of sentences in English language. A declarative sentence states the fact or an opinion to let the reader know something specific, and it always ends with the period. Let's try to analyze this sentence. How to analyze the sentence? First, you need to know which part that you wanted to analyze. If you want to analyze the sentence, you should put S here. If you want to analyze the phrase, you should put P. Or if you want to analyze the clause, you should put C. Okay, now let's try to analyze this sentence. The teacher teaches her students in the class. Before we analyze the inner part of this sentence, I'm going to analyze this sentence into a smaller part, which is the phrase. The teacher. The teacher is the noun phrase, where it from the determiner and noun. We use the triangle if we do not represent the inner part of the word. Teaches her students. This we call it the verb phrase. This is the verb, this is the preposition, and student is the noun. Next, in the class. In the class, we call it this prepositional phrase. In is the preposition, the is the determiner, and class is the noun. Noun phrase, verb phrase, and prepositional phrase. Sentence is formed from noun phrase and verb phrase. We have verb phrase and prepositional phrase together. In syntax, we can combine this into verb phrase and form the sentence. This is how we analyze the sentence, and we call this sentence as simple declarative sentence. Imperative sentence. Imperative sentences are used to issue a command or instruction, make a request, or offer an advice. Basically, they tell people what to do. Imperative sentences usually end with a period, but can occasionally end with an exclamation point. For example, open the window. Question. An interrogative sentence or question is formed by reordering the words of its declarative counterparts. For example, did Nina sleep well? The declarative sentence will be said, Nina slept well. The verb did was inserted and slept becomes sleep in the interrogative. Exclamation. Exclamation sentence is a more forceful form of a declarative sentence. It expresses strong emotion and usually ends with the exclamation mark. For example, I'm free! Based on its structure, sentence can be divided into four: a simple sentence, complex sentence, compound sentence, and complex compound sentence. A simple sentence comprises only one clause, which is main or independent clause. A main clause has both the subject and verb and expresses a complete meaning. It has no dependent clause. For example, she is laughing. Compound sentence. Compound sentence has at least two main or independent clauses connected by coordinating conjunction. It has no dependent clause. Independent clauses are also sometimes connected by the semicolon mark. Let's try to analyze this sentence. Jane wrote him a letter, but he didn't reply her. Look, how many clauses in this sentence? Yes, we have two clauses. This is the first clause. The first clause. And this is the second clause. Both of them are independent clause. That's why we call this a compound sentence. Jane is the noun, wrote is the verb, him is the pronoun, a is determiner, and letter is the noun. This we can say a noun phrase. But is the conjunction. He is the noun, didn't reply. This is tense. Some of the sources say that this is the helping verb. reply is the verb and her is the pronoun. So we only have one phrase here, which is a noun phrase. Complex sentence. A complex sentence has one main or independent clause and at least one subordinate clause connected by subordinate conjunction. If the complex sentence starts with the main or independent clause, a comma will not be used between clauses. But if the complex sentence starts with a subordinate clause or dependent clause, the comma will be used after the subordinate or dependent clause. Let's take a look to this sentence. I saw a man who was wearing a white shirt. How many clauses do we have? Yes, we have two clauses. I saw a man who was wearing a t-shirt. This is the independent clause, while this one is the dependent clause. Do we have a phrase here? Yes, a man. A man is the noun phrase. And then, was wearing is the verb phrase. A white shirt is the noun phrase. I is the noun. Saw, verb. Determiner. Man is the noun. Who is the conjunction. Was is the tenses. Wearing is the verb. A is the determiner. White is the adjective. And shirt is the noun. So, from this sentence, we understand that there are two clauses, independent clause and dependent clause. If we erase this dependent clause, this sentence still has a meaning. But if we erase the independent clause, this sentence doesn't have the complete meaning, or we don't call this as a sentence, we call this as a dependent clause. We call this as a compound sentence. Last but not least, complex compound sentence. A complex compound sentence has at least two main clauses and one or more subordinate clauses. Complex compound sentence. A complex compound sentence has at least two independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. Last, let's take a look at this sentence. I waited for my friend, but she didn't arrive, which disappointed me. This is the compound complex sentence. We have two independent clauses and one dependent clause. This is the first independent clause. She didn't arrive is our second independent clause. Which disappointed me is the dependent clause. Okay, do we have phrase here? Yes, we have phrase. My friend is the noun phrase, where mine is the pronoun and friend is the noun. Didn't arrive is the verb phrase. Didn't, we can call it as tense, and arrived is the verb. And we have two conjunctions. The first conjunction combine two independent clause, and which our second conjunction show the dependent clause to explain the second independent clause. Okay, let's try to analyze this. I is the noun, waited for is the verb phrase, waited is the verb, for is the preposition, she is the noun, disappointed is a verb, me is the noun. Okay, this is a complex compound sentence. Studying syntax, it will automatically relate to grammatical rules, such as subject-verb agreement. So, constructing sentence, we need to pay attention on the subject and the verb. They should agree each other. When we use a single or singular subject, then we need to use the singular verb. When we use the plural subject, we need to use also the plural verb. For example, a boy has the toys. It will be different when the boy is plural. The boys have the toys. Next, tenses. Tenses are related to time when the action happened. In English, we acknowledge 3 types of time: present, past, and future. For example, William goes to church every Sunday. Goes here tells the reader that William is doing this regularly, compared to William went to his grandma's house last Saturday. When refers to the past time or it happened already. From my explanation before, it is essential for us to understand how to construct sentences, since English has its own rule on how to put words together to make a correct sentence. Thank you for your attention.
That's all from us, Group 7. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you for participating in this lesson. Assalamualaikum. Bye-bye.